You're listening to the Beatles 60 podcast.
Wait, what is this song?
Whatever. I like that. Turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up.
Now and then I miss you. Oh, now and then I want you to be there for me.
Hey, this is a special mini-sode to preview a mini-series of Beatles 60 podcasts coming up soon. Before we do that, I wanted to mention two beloved podcasts that called it quits this week. Nothing is Real, and I Am the EggPod. Stephen and Jason entertained, or should I say, infotained us with the kinds of details that fans especially dig. Most of all, I appreciated their wit. They have a live event still scheduled in Dublin in mid-May, anticipating the 60th anniversary of the release of A Hard Day's Night. The event will feature Mark Lewison. After that, I have no idea what's next for them. Maybe more and more collaboration with Mark Lewison. That's the rumor. Similarly, Chris Shaw's podcast, I Am the EggPod, was a delight. His interview style has been described as simultaneously chill and quick. There'll be an EggPod live event in London on the 60th anniversary of the premiere of A Hard Day's Night, also with Mark Lewison in attendance. Do we know there's a pattern here? Both podcasts will be missed, but podcasts don't disappear when their podcasters move on. The archives will continue to be there for us like books on a shelf. Podcasts are evergreen. Contributors to our Facebook groups will continue to feature links to archived episodes. Not all at once, but now and then as they fit into our 60 years ago timeline. You know, in the Beatles 60 universe, it's still April 1964. A Hard Day's Night doesn't even have a name yet, although they've been filming for the past month. We can look forward to revisiting related podcasts about that, for example, in the months to come. In this way, we'll be benefiting from Nothing is Real and I Am the EggPod over the course of the rest of this decade. Their contributions to our knowledge of the 1960s will be appreciated, just as we appreciate, for example, Mark Lewison's chronicling. These are still early days. You know? Yeah. Well, we'll be right back.
Beatles 60, we're jumping around. We're jumping around.
Each day, as we revisit 1964, we observe a world of interlinked events and shifting contexts, both within and beyond the Beatles' social circles. This daily immersion into the era's dynamics offers a glimpse into the Beatles' rise to global fame. Despite the passage of time, their legacy endures across social media, embodying a sense of timelessness amidst the ever-changing entertainment landscape. This is how the Beatles are often regarded: timeless legends. The 1960s timeline is often collapsed, and we lose all sense of sequence and context of that decade's unfolding and how we developed together over the span of those years. We just lose all of that. Our lived experiences in the 1960s were marked by progression rather than timelessness. We, regular folk, evolved day by day, as people do, as humans too. And so did our rock stars and our cultural leaders. They are human beings just like anyone, contrary to the notion of timeless legends. In our Facebook groups, we place the human Beatles within a daily chronology, fostering new insights each day. Not big insights, but insights. They accumulate over time, Small insights over time build up, Through this mini-series of podcast episodes coming up, this is episode 0 of 4, so there'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4 coming up. In this series, this mini-series, I'll share the insights gleaned from our daily explorations of 1964, providing context and sequence to the events of that time. Examining, for example, the magazines consumed by the Beatles and their contemporaries. Disc, the Record Mirror Pop Weekly, and the New Musical Express, NME. We piece together their narrative as it unfolded, at least parts of their narrative. And then we get other parts from other media, scans, photos, stories, and media from 60 years ago transport us back to 1964, uncovering historical layers that might otherwise remain hidden. Our Facebook communities offer a daily window into the lives of those in the early 1964 music industry, juxtaposing archival materials to trace the Beatles' path within a world in flux. The Beatles 60 project promotes living in the history, akin to a daily journey back in time, with the complexity of a world in motion as background context, one day following the next, in real-time sequence. Now, the project isn't solely for Beatles enthusiasts. It's about experiencing the past with context and continuity. We cover so much more than the Beatles. If you're more of a fan of the Kinks, or you're a Stones fan, or you're more into jazz or classical, you'll still find these groups interesting if recent history interests you. But there's a lot of Beatles every day, truth be told. We deliberately chose to follow their story for lots of reasons you can probably guess. In recent months, we've gained a deeper understanding of the rhythm of their offstage lives in early 1964, evidenced by a wealth of candid photos shared in our Facebook groups. Also, we have candid film footage. For example, the Maysles Brothers documentary captures both candid and controlled moments in New York, Washington, and Miami. Our long-term project of tracking the Beatles' daily life allows us to see beyond their confident exteriors. Amidst the relentless pace, they scarcely had time to address their doubts and nerves. The title of their upcoming film, A Hard Day's Night, reflects this intensity. The candid photos I just mentioned, right? The Facebook groups feature them in abundance, far more than we even imagined existed, complemented by verified narratives and interview anecdotes, all contributing to our understanding of their experience. All of this timed in daily doses for our perusal exactly 60 years to each day since it all happened. Our next podcast episode explores the Beatles' personal experiences during this pivotal time, offering insights into their lives as they navigated an unexpectedly unprecedented level of fame. I'll show how it's possible to know what early 1964 was like for the Beatles themselves. We've found that engaging with our daily updates in the Facebook groups, anybody can immerse themselves in the living history, reliving in the early 1964 world as it unfolded day by day 60 years ago. Do I sound like a broken record? I could list topics, In early 1964, the Beatles returned to London after conquering America. They gave interviews at the airport discussing their meeting with Cassius Clay and their expectations for Liston to win that fight. Hard Day's Night, their first feature film, captured their confidence and charmingly rebellious spirit. But the daily experience in the groups is more than the sum of its topics. Insights arise through the whole daily context in sequence. It sounds fancy, but it really takes no effort. It's just daily immersion. Topics, EMI's overseas labels were releasing Beatles singles globally, including Japan and Australia. In America, their popularity exploded as Beatles songs dominated the top 5 positions on the Billboard Hot 100 by the first week of April. And every day we're seeing an incredible array of peripheral Beatles products appearing, including licensed merchandise, unauthorized magazines, just everything imaginable and more. In episode 2 of 4, we look at concrete examples of insights arising out of reliving the contexts of early 1964 in daily sequence. The Beatles' everyday doings, the Music Weekly's new focus on blue beat, and the growing influence of the tastes of the mod subculture in Britain. We'll detail how the British music industry weeklies continued to cover the Mersey sound, the beat group craze. But a dance music genre called blue beat became popular among the mod subculture around this time, 60 years ago. Industry ad men watched for new trends among post-war boomers now turning 19. Immersing ourselves daily in the 1964 world, we get a sense of what it was like for the human Beatles to become like immortal legends, right? If that makes any sense. An early 1964 world in motion where intersections of everything abound. Ready, Steady, Go, the music press, the mod subculture, the Beatles, blue beat, and so on, all at once. Prince Buster's arrival at London Airport in 1964 was pivotal in British music history. The influence of blue beat extended beyond Britain's black population as the mod youth subculture embraced it. Blue beat records' notoriety led to blue beat being used to name the musical genre. Well, anyway, more details coming up in that second episode of 4. In episode 3 of 4, I'll reveal more about the way we gain insights into the past, and then the series will end with a look at how the Beatles overcame doubts and vulnerabilities during this period of sudden global fame. I'll let you in on insights from our daily deep dives into 1964, for example, how we make sense of the Beatles' experimentation with ska, which is blue beat, right? Ska, blue beat, same thing. And how so many of the events, sequential and contextual, behind the story, make sense simply by examining British music magazines. We can learn so much just from those. We're always claiming that the Beatles 60 project encourages living in the history, taking a daily time machine back to 1964. I think it's useful to dwell on some concrete ways that we witness the Beatles adapting to their sudden global prominence in early 1964, and useful to reveal some of the actual insecurities barely hidden behind their confident facade. For example, the American media expected teen idols like dumb-headed teen idols, but the Beatles relied on their wit and assertiveness. Well, as already mentioned, every day in February, March, and April, we've been looking at candid photos that give us a real sense of the pace of things and what it must have been like to cope with all that. Candid snapshots and documentaries from the period reveal the frenetic pace behind the scenes and the support they found in each other. And they've always mentioned that they had each other to support each other. In this way, the fourth and final episode in this series looks at how the Beatles grappled with their new global fame and, the challenges that they successfully glossed over by their outward confidence. Of course, it was facilitated by all the right kind of support they received. As they embarked on filming A Hard Day's Night, Brian Epstein and NEMS and George Martin and EMI provided the essential guidance needed to navigate their unprecedented rise in global popularity with all the demands of a world caught up in Beatlemania. These will be 4 episodes of the podcast that you won't want to miss. Be sure to follow the podcast if you don't already. Just hit follow wherever you're listening. Oh, also, big announcement. Grab a pen or a pencil or iPad or something, a crayon if you need, if that's handy. Ready? Here it is. So, attention all podcast aficionados. Our Facebook community is a treasure trove of nostalgia, and you're invited to be part of this exclusive journey. We've crafted not 1, but 2 Facebook groups. The first is a private sanctuary you can discover with a simple Facebook search. The second, it's our hidden gem, shrouded in mystery and invisible to the prying eyes of the online world. It's really secret, man, because it's not only private, but private and hidden. But fear not, for this clandestine group isn't hidden from you. You're our cherished podcast listeners. It's a secret haven, shielded from everyone else, and guess what? There's a special path that leads right to it, reserved just for you, and it won't cost you a dime. Here's how you can join this covert assembly. I'll be placing a link for easy access, or if you're ready to jot it down, here's the web address you'll need. Beatles60.group/hidden. That's BEATLES60.group/hidden. Hidden as in hide from view, like hide and seek. It's hidden, right? Remember, this isn't your run-of-the-mill .com. It's a .group. Think of the camaraderie of a pop group, the harmony of a vocal group, or the community of a Facebook group. So make your way to Beatles60.group/hidden and step into a world of pure imagination. No, step into a world that's exactly 60 years behind, day after day, without exception. We've intentionally kept this page off Google's radar, making it an exclusive spot just for you, our podcast enthusiasts. It's your VIP pass to a bygone era. So, take a moment to write it down or tap it into your browser for the final time. That's Beatles60.group/hidden. Join us and let's make history together every single day.
So come on, we're going to repeat that slogan. This is a chronicle.
Beatles 60, we ain't jumping around.